Purudhanashri is a classical performer, and we are really very happy to see you perform, and thank you very much. And Dr. Ramakrishnan is from RJNUKT. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful, wonderful performance and for being with this. Let me just bring in this notion and contextualize it in the context of comparative literature. The discussion that we are going to have will be about dance and dance forms and the classical art forms that are there, and the notion of Abhinaya at the center. One of the important things about comparative literature is that comparative literature, the traditional definition of comparative literature tells us that it is not simply about literature, but it is about other branches of investigation, other branches of art. And among the other branches of art, aesthetics is really very important. Aesthetics. There are several comparative literature specialists who have been big commentators in the area of aesthetics. Earl Minor, to name one. So we have a paper, Comparative Poetics, which is part of our MA program, where we deal with the notion of poetics and application of poetics to literary texts, where we deal with the Indian poetics and the Western poetics in a very comparative way. So this particular notion of Abhinaya becomes really very important here, because Abhinaya, or a very rough translation, if you scholars might permit me to, is acting or enactment or performance, whatever. Is a very rough kind of a root translation into English. Has been theorized in the Indian traditions as well as in the Western traditions in various ways. So comparative literature looks into this particular situation in multiple ways now and tries to compare the way in which Abhinaya becomes integral. Now, let me just begin by asking a question to Jayachandra about this notion of when we look into this dance forms and Abhinaya. We have this in the contemporary times institutional learning as against the Guru Shishya Parampara we was there. I'm sure there is a kind of a gulf between this institutional learning and the Guru Shishya Parampara that seems to exist. You are an academics and you are an academics too, so Brooklyn, you can tell us the kind of, is this kind of a gulf that exists between institutional learning of dance forms and Abhinaya, etc., and the kind of tradition of Guru Shishya that existed, that seems to be existing in some quarters, some corners. What do we make of it? What are the advantages and merits? How do you see, is this a dichotomy, or is this something which is something that takes you through different phases of human evolution or academic evolutions? How do you get it? Jayachandra, please.
The time is so inevitable that many of these streams of education has kind of moved on to institutionalized learning, especially when it comes to art. But the fact was, like, there is no, in a way they look at it, even this is far more supportive in one sense, because I'm not pitching one against the other, and we can also see them as parallel streams, which is the current, even in times, both of them are surviving together. If some student goes and learns under one specific teacher, there are a lot of positiveness in this, the nuances are one-to-one and right, and there is a kind of a tradition also being followed in the household of the teacher itself, the traditional teachers are there. So learning becomes multifaceted. It's not only through the teacher, but the home teaches you. And there's a very famous quote also, they say that even the pillars can teach you, or the home can teach you. But when shifted to institutionalized learning, such nuances, of course, we are time lost. But the factor is, like, there is an affordance for many people to participate into the dialogue. There's an opening, and there's no restriction based on certain other precepts which is not, which are very ambiguous restrictions in one I feel there are pros and cons in both ways, and one can't avoid the other. Presence of care.
Well, what I wanted to know was, when you talk about universities, we are looking into the Western idea of, because universities have traditionally been from the West, and the product of modernity, they came to India and things like that. So, whereas the traditions that have been there are imparted to Guru Shishya Parampara against the university. So, I was wondering whether we are using the wrong approach to learn the classical art by using it in the universities. Am I making sense when I say that?
Well, in one sense, we can't learn arts through university setup. That is completely, because we can't start from basics, and the university setup doesn't allow us. But if you want to a program, a kind of a degree program or a course, that's fine. But learning from the scratch, what happens has to happen. There is no other way, one-to-one. I don't think ever any university even has approached or achieved that kind of a benchmark for one-to-one learning or in the stream of performing arts has ever achieved. This is my opinion, and I hold it very clear because I've been working in it. So this is my point.
Actually, Guru Shishya Parampara is came from centuries ago. But coming back to today's university studies, I don't think that both of these treatises are made by research from Nashasla to whatever texts are being written. So, in my opinion, institutionalization is a very good idea for today's scenario. And from the basics, the students they couldn't get some kind of opportunities from the gurus. But nowadays, it is a very good idea.
It is important. Yeah, thank you very much for that. And, small question to with regard to the way in which there is a high degree of commercialization with regard to the classical arts that is happening, especially with regard to the popular culture. The three terms that are actually used: fusion, dilution, and innovation. Innovation, fusion, dilution of the classical arts so that it suits the popular demands and all the popular culture. What kind of an impact does this have on the dance forms that we preserve and we kind of, does this simply very interesting, because on the one hand we have an argument that the traditional dance forms are endangered, and on the other, in order to survive, it is really very important for you to do this dilution, innovation, improvisation, etc., etc. How correct is it, and what are your views on that?
I think every artist is a part of the society, and it's, as I said, it's each individual's choice to do what they want to do with the art form. There is a lot of, let me first put the positive side of what's happening. There's a lot of learning. Chennai scene is an example of that. Number of sabhas, number of programs, number of students, everything is increasing. People are very passionate about classical dance forms. There are people who have left other professions and coming back to classical dance forms. But if you talk about numbers, the numbers will always be less in classical art forms because they require a certain degree of involvement, which is difficult. It's not, like I said, it's not Bollywood dance, it is not something which gives you immediate pleasure. Instant gratification doesn't happen in classical dance form. If we want to look for that, which many artists do, it is diluting the art form, but there are also others who are very passionately working towards keeping the art in its pristine form. So I think it's an individual's journey at the end of the day. Regarding the growth and innovation,
Isn't it necessary to change with time?
change is always, I think it's an individual's choice. How I want to change, what I want to do with my art, how do I connect to it, whom am I dancing for? At the end of the day, what am I giving back to the art form? Is it for my own pleasure, my own profit, my own individual journey, or is it the journey of the entire society that I'm committed to? If I only take it as what I need to get from the art and only focus on that, then this is what will happen. We'll always keep changing according to what the other wants from us. In the name of innovation, in the name of changing it from the technological point of view, or making it, what is the word that people say? Approachable, because there are many people who come and say these arts are very elitist, they're very esoteric, they're very erotic. So now I keep changing according to what she wants or he wants or the other person wants. I think an artist call is one's own individual sincere effort to what my art is for me. If I'm able to do justice, dharma to my dance form, to my art, the way my guru wanted me to grow with it, if it is spiritually helping me to grow, aesthetically enhancing my growth as a human being, then I can do whatever I can, and I should do that. If it's, of course, we are changing in artists. There is no artist in this audience or in the dance who has not changed with times. We are changing in terms of how we approach the text, how we present it for the audience, the kind of narratives that are there. And in fact, many artists are now, Vidyaji just left, because she has done amazing work on revisiting Sita, Draupadi, bringing back those narratives and giving it a contemporary flavor for the audience of today, taking those characters from our mythology. So the themes are also changing. At the same time, she's not giving it a cosmetic flavor. She is not diluting her presentation. She might be experimenting with the costume, with the music, with the lighting, with how she's, in fact, she used dialogue also in Bharatanatyam, which is very rare.
Supposing, I'm sorry to cut you short. Supposing there is a video on shape of you, popular song in Bharatanatyam form.
I don't understand, I'm sorry sir, I just don't agree with you. I completely, no.
You don't think that it's art?
No, first of all, why Bharatanatyam for shape of you? I mean, why? हमारे पास ये संगीत नहीं है, मुझे shape of you में उठाना है because it has million views. So my question for you is, why did that person take shape of you? Because the song is very popular. The moment I upload it on YouTube, it will have million views. So I want to be viewed. That's my criteria. That's all. कला आती है नहीं आती वो बाकी बात है. मुझको देख रहे हैं ना लोग.
Acceptance is very important in any form of art. Acceptance by viewership, spectatorship, readership. It is acceptance is very important. The field you are receiving, you need reception.
Yes, but
Art has to receive.
exactly, I agree with that. But just because I want to be received, I can't go to the other end of the pendulum, right, sir? Instead of doing a varnam for say 2 hours, now I'm doing it for 30 minutes. I'm even doing it for 20 minutes. I keep on changing the duration, the treatment of the same piece according to the audience. But just because a group of, and why do we always feel that youngsters will only connect to shape of you? There are many youngsters today who might have connected to Pravisharadhe also. So unless we give that to them, and why do we demean their intelligence? उनको तो shape of you समझ में आता है. उनको शीला की जवानी. The other day I saw the dancer doing something on शीला की जवानी. So I was very disturbed as an artist. I mean, on one time we are discussing tantra and mantra and yantra as an artist, as an audience, as a society, and then I see this lady coming and doing this with the song. My question is, suppose we want to take a catchy tune. There are many tracks in the classical dragons which are being composed by today's composers, which have amazing rhythm, structure, very catchy to hear, and I can do dance for them. Why should I take a black or white or Billie Jean? Or I mean, I am an MJ fan, of course I am, but then I could not do Teha Tehi for Smooth Criminal. I have seen that. that's, for me personally, it is disturbing, because if a student comes to me and says that I want to do something on Chammachalu, a Bollywood dance कर लीजिए, because every dance form has its own nature and culture and roots from where we are coming from. And if we don't develop a dialogue between who you are, who I am, where this art is coming from, with a sense of acceptance. I accept that today's society is like that. I'm not changing that. But if I keep changing according to what you want me to be, then, I mean, that's my personal view. So, yeah. You can take this.
There's another thing that acquires significance in the context of performative arts is these T.M. Krishna's views about the way in which art should have a social purpose. And it is not art for art's sake. Even classical art, classical kind of performative arts that we have, dances, such as the important dances that we have, should have a social purpose. So what are your views about it? Is it a revolutionary thing to do within the domain of the classical situation and make arts not simply for art's sake but for the sake of society? Is it changing the perspective in which we look at art, or is it again a kind of a damaging tendency, commercialization in disguise? Jason.
Actually, art having a utilitarian purpose itself is a big question, for the reason that provided we make dance as a performance, only we see that as dance or music or any of the theatre performances, only as a performative aspect of it, there is always a need for the client. There is a client, there is a vartala, there is a vartaka. As we say, vartaka happens, there is a business transaction. Then you kind of fine-tune your client. Dance, music and theatre has been a profession in any, especially in the civilized parts of the world, for many, many centuries, and there is no new thing that dance has to have a purpose. Only in the context provided we take it as a profession. We know many professional dancers in the Indian context, they have had huge, they have a lot of, manyam we say. Manyam is like what has been endowed to you. It's not given as a salary. Artists of yesteryear never got salary. They would accept manyam. Manyam comes from the word manyata, also means mana, which is with respect. The word is very sophisticated and very, I would say, very subtle. They would accept manyam. And they were living with jewelries, with buildings and what lands, and it was like artists in India. And there was some section who were living in Penury at this time. It is not anything new. But the factor is, this is the only way, is a kind of a debatable thing. But certainly, because provided we take someone wants to not just get onto stage, but still only keep dancing, there is always a probability. Yesteryear's royal patronage was also given to certain dancers like that. And believe me, the best of the singers never sang. The best of the dancers never danced. Very strange to listen. Those four bodies, which we generally call as Tanjore quartet from Tanjore, all of us for them, this word is a very like a mantra. The dancers